Well, my name is Father David McConey. I'm assistant professor of theology here at St. Louis University. I've been a Jesuit now 26 years and a priest for 15 years.
Awesome. Especially with Pope Francis being a Jesuit, it's a little different, kind of just the social topics that have been talked about since he's become the Pope. One particular topic that's been more so talked about recently, but has always been kind of a subject of discussion is the gay community and kind of the role the gay community and the Catholic Church have, or the relationship that they have. So I was wondering if you could just discuss kind of that relationship.
Well, when I think of Catholic community and the relationship between God's people, I don't think in terms of gay or straight. We're all in this together. We all share the same baptismal vocation. In terms of Pope Francis, of course, he'll probably be most famous for his line of, "Who am I to judge?" That when God sees a person, that's what God sees, a child, and not necessarily a gay or a straight or a white or a black or red. I think Francis's appreciation for the inherent dignity of every human person is shining through quite brilliantly.
And then in terms of how, although much like any group of people, there will always kind of be an opposition. And for those Catholics who don't necessarily either feel comfortable or don't feel that the gay community really has a relationship with the Catholic Church, what do you think the Church is either doing or think the Church should be doing to kind of address that hate or that otheringness of the gay community?
Yeah, the hate or the otherness has no place, and of course it's not official church teaching. You're always going to find individuals who belong to a community that falls short of the ideal, and of course the ideal in the Catholic Church is that we're all called to a chastity appropriate to our vocation in life, and that the gay, the straight, whatever community label you want to put, is actually doing a disservice, I think, to any one group of people, that we all belong as God's children, and we all belong to the same church. And the second we start to divide and label and point, I think we're doing the gospel a disservice.
So you would say in actuality there is no real gay community and otheringness of the Catholic Church, and that anyone who identifies as homosexual or as a part of the gay community can also just as easily identify themselves as Catholic?
Oh, I hope so, sure, of course. Yeah, in fact, I see a couple of students on campus that are both gay and Catholic, and I think they have found in their spiritual lives, I'm their spiritual director, a certain ease and comfort in belonging to both. Yes.
Awesome. And then the last big question is gay marriage. So it's legal in several countries and is becoming legal in more countries as time goes on. What is the Church's official way of addressing same-sex or gay marriage, specifically in the Catholic Church?
That's an important question. Well, the Church, as far as I can tell from the first century on, even going back to pre-Christian Jewish times, has understood marriage as the unifying, procreative love between one man and one woman. That polygamy, any other thing that goes against the standard model of a man and a woman open to new life and open to a lifelong commitment is not a marriage. And that said, in the American context, I think we should separate between what a Christian sacrament is, or a Catholic sacrament at least, and what a legal relationship is. I do think that most Catholics believe that two people have the right to do whatever they wish as Americans. And so I'm always a little put off when I see that one gay person can't visit his gay friend in the hospital, or they can't share inheritance rights or tax rights. I think most Americans find that somewhat hurtful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you say that the main reasons why gay marriage is not allowed, or is, I guess, maybe in another way just accepted in the Catholic Church, is primarily because at its core it's one man, one woman, and another kind of opposition to that is, as well as the fact that they need to be open to having new life, and exactly. A same-sex couple cannot do that.
Exactly, yeah. And there are some couples that can't do that either, but that's always a sorrow. It's not something that's intended or chosen or foreseen. Infertile couples, I've worked with them as well, and that's always a pain and a loss. There is something about human love that wants to give itself to new life. And this is where I know being a, say, gay Catholic is a heavy cross, because we are called to chastity appropriate to our vocation. And if one doesn't have the vocation to marry, that chastity has to be lived out and channeled in a different way, just like my celibacy does. Not having my children, not being called to marriage myself, was there's a certain sorrow there, there's a certain cross, but there's also, if I live that in Christ, consecrated, there's great life, there's great fruit, and there are children of all different sorts, especially as an educator at a campus with students. Yeah.
Alrighty, so the first question I have for you is, what is your opinion on gay marriage?
I support it fully. I think if two people love each other enough to want to make that promise to love each other forever, by all means, that they should be able to.
So, what is your opinion of gay marriage in the Catholic Church? And when I ask this, I mean both. What is the Catholic Church's standpoint on it versus where do you feel the Catholic Church's standpoint is either right, wrong? Where do you agree, disagree, and why?
So I think that the Catholic Church needs some updating on some of their teachings, and this is one of them. I think that Pope Francis is definitely on the right direction. He's definitely bringing the conversation towards gay marriage and trying to accept it more. But I think that I believe it should be allowed, and so I think that we have a lot more work to do to make it acceptable.
And then my last question is, do you think gay marriage will ever be allowed in the Catholic Church?
I would like to say yes. And that's me being in a perfect world, we'd all understand that gay marriage isn't something to be afraid of. But being more realistic, I think that in my lifetime, in our lifetimes, it probably won't be allowed, just because it takes so many years to make a change in the Catholic Church. So I think we're on the right track, but I think that we have a lot of work to do to get that to be an acceptable thing.
So the first question is, what is your opinion on gay marriage?
I think legally, like, people should be able, to get married. I don't think there's any place of, restrictions on that, since, separation of church and state, and there's really no, legal reason, I suppose, to keep people from getting married.
Alrighty. The next question is, what is your opinion on gay marriage in the Catholic Church?
So I think gay marriage in the church doesn't actually exist. The definition of marriage is, between man and woman. And I do not think that the church would ever open up marriage to same-sex couples.
Well, my next question was, do you think gay marriage will ever be allowed in the Catholic Church? So I guess more of a hypothetical would be, if the Catholic Church was to ever accept gay marriage and make that a part of the Catholic Church, what do you think that would look like?
Well, I don't know, a hypothetical, I guess. I think if the church says, it's open, then obviously there's been a lot of, doctrinal and, just review of things, and it's definitely been very much thought out, since it's such, marriage is, such a core part of Catholicism, as a representation between, Christ's love for the church and, a husband's love for his wife. So I think, if the church opened it up to that, then, obviously, yes, it's okay, and, I think there would be a lot of pushback still, just because even though there are Catholics out there who love and support gay people, and are okay with them legally having the same rights, but don't want them to be married in the church, there are just as many people who use religion as an excuse to, be bigoted and actively, push away gay people and, not treat them as equals. So I think it would be very difficult to have that integrated peacefully. There would definitely be a lot of, bigotry and hatred, I think, just from, fear.
Thank you. So the purpose of this project is to show specifically in terms of the gay community, how the gay community is marginalized in the Catholic Church. With gay marriage not being allowed in the Catholic Church, how does the Catholic Church go about including the gay community whilst still, in a way, othering them by not allowing gay marriage?
Okay. It is a core part of Catholicism that we support and love people. Even if you don't support people's decisions, it's always necessary to support them and be there for them. And ultimately, you know, we have free will, so we're free to make our own decisions. So even if you don't agree with a person's decision, i.e. getting married to a person of the same sex as yourself, it's very important that people be there to support them as a person and to provide like love and care and advice and just overall friendship. So going forward, the Catholic Church could definitely do better, or individuals within the church could definitely do better at not being hostile to openly gay people, to the ideology of the gay community, so not making homophobic comments, even if you are not in the presence of a gay person, because that sort of thinking like permeates throughout your actions and throughout your life, so it's incredibly important, you know, just to show love and to invite couples to Mass, if you will, even if they can't take communion because they're not in absolute full unity with the church, they are still wanted there. Everybody's wanted within the church, and just to make sure that they know that that invitation is always